Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Ballad on Film. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight is one of my absolutely favorite programs or a festival, Southern Shorts. They're always a great program with lots of variety and lots of great local and regional filmmakers to talk with. So I want to go around the Zoom room and have everybody talk a little bit about themselves and their projects. And then we're going to have a discussion about Atlanta filmmaking and short films and a lot more. So we will start with Alex.
Hey guys, my name is Alex Preston. I am a writer, director, editor based here in Atlanta, Georgia. My film is entitled The Last Gift, and that film got started actually as a result of a breakup. As many fun stories do, right? So that's how we got started writing that story. And it's funny because at SCAD, this was a student film project that came out of a film class. And we have a really just tight deadline, like for every single project. We would get 6 to 8 films within a span of 9 weeks. And it was just super intense. So this film was made over maybe 6 days or so. It was shot in one day. And it was conceived in that about a week's time. So we were glad to see it come together the way that it did with the help of our amazing team.
Great. Vandy Beth.
Hi, I'm Vandy Beth Glenn. My film is called Wild HR, and it's about a trans woman who goes to the HR department at her office. It's based marginally on my experiences, and she encounters someone there who has very definite opinions about trans people. And the idea behind the story was basically, what if an internet comment section came to life? And it's about the encounter that this woman has with this coworker. We shot it in 2 days at the Lambda Legal offices in Midtown Atlanta, real close to the Fox. And we had a really good team. Our trans protagonist was played by an actual trans woman, which was very important to me. I'm a trans woman myself. And we were very happy with the result, and we're very happy to have gotten it out on film.
Great, thank you. We're happy to have you here. Danny.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Danny. I am a writer, director, and producer. My film is Vanilla Milkshake, and it's about this fictional world where everybody gets a little device, like a bracelet. And what the device does is the closest you get to your soulmate, the warmer it gets. We follow my lead, Olivia, into her journey of self-discovery and realizing that she's looking for love in all the wrong places. So yeah, that's my film.
Okay, thank you. Joel.
Hey everybody, my name is Jewel D. Lane. I'm a director and choreographer, and I just want to say it's really cool to be in this frequency with all these amazing filmmakers. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and the name of my film is called Touch and Agree. Pretty much the film is about just two African American gay men, and I wanted to show this essence of hope that a story can happen, a relationship can happen. It was kind of birthed out of a choreographic work that I did back in 2010. And like Alex, it was a relationship, and it was about me. So the only way that I could really choreograph is really put my own personal experiences in that. And so eventually it became a larger work for the second company of Avon Agley American Dance Theater. And I knew at some point I wanted to put it on film. I just didn't know when, but this year was the year to do it. And we actually shot it in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and it took us about a week to shoot it. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jillian.
Hi, I'm Jillian Walzer, actor, writer, and executive producer to Cowboy Joe. I'm in Atlanta. We filmed in Atlanta last year, and the film is about being middle-aged and dating in this digital reality world that we live in. And let's see, how did it come about? I'm an actor by nature, and I decided to take my career to the next level and discovered that I was a writer, and this is the first script that I wrote. And before I knew it, we landed on set with an incredible team and just went for it. And it's kind of write what you know and push your characters and have fun and let it be relatable. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jonah.
Hello, my name is John O. Mitchell. I am a filmmaker and board member for Film Impact Georgia, based here in Atlanta. I am the producer, writer, and star of the short film Max. Max is about a man who connects with an escort a couple hours after he signs his divorce papers. So he is seeking human connection in a way that he hasn't experienced in a long time. As the star of it at the time, I was 70 pounds heavier than I am today. And I wanted to write something that showcased a larger man in a more intimate queer setting, because it's something that we don't see very often. And so we brought in a wonderful director, Christina Aronja, and then our DP, Joey Kapansky, to create a film about a fuller figure man and how he sort of navigates the world after something terrible happens. And I think that it's a really wonderful film about hope. And fun thing, Danny Flores was our assistant director on that short. So
Ooh, 6 degrees of Jonah.
yeah.
Congratulations to you all. That is a great. I know that we have a great cross section of those who've done other films. At least one I know who's done a feature film, versus some people here who I think pretty sure are first-time filmmakers. Jonah, let me talk to you, because you have done a feature film, but can you talk to me a little bit about the difference between doing a feature film and short films, and the particular challenges of doing a short film?
It's all in how much sleep you want to get.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that doing a feature was so wild, because it was like, it felt like the whole time there was so much writing on it.
Mhm.
You know, we were doing something for 10 days, and it was a crew of so many people, and there was so much money involved, and so many locations, and so much that it encompassed. It was this huge umbrella. Whereas a short, especially something like Max, which is intimate, it's 2 people, it's 1 room. We shot that in a day. Danny, I think we were there for like 10 hours, 11 hours in a hotel room, and like in what was it, like Sandy Springs? Like we were able to just do something quick with a small, intimate crew. I think that there's a bit of freedom in doing short films. I think that it allows it allows you to be a little more rough around the edges.
Okay. Vandy Beth, now, if I'm correct, this is your first film?
This is my first film. And the genesis was, some people might know, I was involved in a federal lawsuit a few years ago. I was fired from a job for being transgender. And in the years since that lawsuit concluded, I had the germ of an idea for a sitcom that would be based on my experiences. And I have a pilot for that I've been trying to sell for a few years, and it hasn't been going that great, although I've gotten some good feedback. And so I decided to take a leap sideways from that and develop one of my episode ideas into a short film. And that's what became Wild HR. And the idea was that I would have this as like a calling card that I could use to help sell my sitcom. But I actually had so much fun making the film, and I loved the work itself. I wrote it, I directed it, I built the props for it, and I think in the future I just want to make more movies.
Jillian.
Yeah.
I mean, is this where is this in your career oeuvre? I mean, where is this? Is this one of your first films?
It is. First script I've written, first film that I produced, not the first film that I've acted in, but the first film that I've personally done, which is fantastic. And I'm in the works of in pre-production for my second film. But this film was really important. And, I'm divorced and middle-aged and doing it. So it seemed appropriate. There's just so many stories, and so many of us women don't feel comfortable necessarily talking about certain situations. And I'm one of those, let's be more open and honest and not feel like we can't express ourselves. And so I just had fun with it. And it was really important for me to start writing leading roles for women 40s and up, minority actor leading roles, and opportunity for people in front and behind the camera. So that is sort of my mission moving forward as far as filmmaking goes.
Okay, Joel.
Well, this is like I would say my sixth film. I primarily do everything like that is centered around putting dance on film. And so I always know that, sometimes people are like, so what is it? Like, what is it supposed to represent? For me, it allows the imagination from concert dance to heighten even more. And so my main goal is to always show like the poetic side, but also kind of slip in like, the narrative um, ideas around like, the movie magic within
Hmm.
that. So
Okay. Danny.
This is the first film that I have directed and written. I've been a producer for many years. I actually produced the film behind Alex, Greta and Hansel. I produced that with him years ago. But this was the first time for me, and it was terrifying. The story is very personal, and it was about my journey of coming to terms with my own sexuality, realizing that I was looking for love and for a partner, for somebody, and I wasn't, coming to terms with, oh, I don't think I like boys. I think I like girls. So it took me years and years to kind of put all of that in paper in a way that I felt comfortable and safe enough to say it. And I was just lucky to be surrounded with a fantastic team of people that I trusted, and everything just fell into place at the right time. And yeah, I want to keep writing, want to keep directing, want to keep producing more films and create more spaces for, like what you said, Jillian, for women and minorities, um, and just for characters that are not represented enough. That's what I wanted.
And Alex.
Great. Get to follow Danny. Yes, me and Danny have worked together. It's been brilliant. Collaborating with her as a producer. She's an amazing talent on set as well as behind the scenes. And so for the last gift, it was pretty late in terms of like so it was a student film, but it was pretty late in terms of my education at SCAD. I think it was the next to last film. So it was the film I directed just before Gretel and Hansel. And it was, again, about a recent breakup that affected me, in a way. I wanted it to be a cross section of like emotions versus like career obligations, because I feel like that's a problem that so many people in our generation go through. And that was what was a big catalyst for like my initial breakup and like what like sparked the story. So that was a big component of it. And also I wanted it to be a mixed race cast, because for me it was there were cultural differences in terms of me and my ex, and I wanted to personify that as much as possible with representing the cast that way. So
I personally have been in Atlanta a very long time. I moved here in 1996. And when I think back in that time, if there was one film that was shot in Georgia a year, it was sort of a coup. Everybody was excited. Nowadays, I mean, we all know what Atlanta is like these days. I'm curious, who amongst you all would say that you have from the get-go always known that you wanted to be a filmmaker versus those of you who said, you're living here, you see what's going on. I've always been interested. Let me just test the waters. So can we just sort of go around the room and talk about that?
I think for me, it was something that I just, as a concert dancer, I got really bored one year and I was like, I want to do something else. And so I kind of like fell upon like, just film.
Yeah.
And I knew that, the stories that I was telling on the stage, I wanted to heighten them a little bit more. And I felt like it was important for Black gay men to be represented, because growing up, I didn't have a lot of representation here in Atlanta. And so, most of that was on like, shows like Fame, or like even going to like, Marlon Riggs, Tons Untied. And so, and even like with Moonlight, like I felt like I wanted to be in conversation with that just to make sure that we are represented. So yeah, it's been a beautiful blessing to kind of be in conversation, like, you know, just with film.
Okay.
I'll go. So like I shared earlier, I'm an actor and I've been predominantly on stage here in Atlanta. And I really wanted to venture back into film and television. And I actually took a class, Create Your Own Content, Take Your Career to the Next Level, not really knowing I was a writer. And discovered that I was very quickly, and had a bunch of scripts spill out of me from that class. And I actually did a stage, I was invited to do a staged reading at an event of Cowboy Joe. And my director, Dara Dillard, was emceeing that event and came up to me at the end of it and said, "What are you doing with this?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just discovered I was a writer. It was fun. I don't know what I'm doing with it." And he said, "I know what we're doing. You're going to film it and I'm going to be your director." So it was one of those things when it's, you know, it's a passion, it's what you want to do, but maybe not necessarily know how to do it. And once you get people on board and behind it, it really motivated me. And I'm one of those people, I love a challenge. So the next thing I knew, we were on set and doing it. And like I said, now I'm like on to the next one. And so it's all been very exciting. It's fun when you discover basically a new form of an art, you know, being an artist, not just being an actor, but a writer as well. So
Okay.
that's kind of my story.
I'll jump in. I feel like I have such a similar experience to the way Joel was describing his transition. Just because I was raised in the dance studio. My mom was a dance teacher her entire life. So I grew up from the age of 3 dancing. And so when I was about 10, I started editing music for my mom's competition teams. And so like that had me opening up Windows Movie Maker, playing around, figuring out how things work in the terms of a nonlinear editor. And that's what really sparked my interest. And then in like sophomore year of high school, I took my first job as a TV editor. And from there, I was like, this is what I want to do. And then I got fired from that job. But, you know, par for the course. We're here.
Does anyone else?
I can jump in.
I can follow up. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Danny,
Go ahead.
no, Danny, you've done so much for me. Please go first.
Yeah, so thank you. I actually moved here from Ecuador. I'm from South America. I known that I wanted to make movies in some capacity since I was 14 years old, and the film industry in my country is up and coming. There was no opportunity for me to really educate myself in that sense. So I moved here when I was 17 years old, and I found a way to put myself through school with very supportive parents, thankfully. And I started working with all my peers at school and Alex, and then meeting Jono. And it just happened that Atlanta was the place where everything was happening. And there was a fantastic film school here that happened to accept me. And everything just fell into place. And because of the industry being here, I just had so many opportunities to meet fantastic people that I don't have, you know, an immediate desire to move anywhere else. There's so much talent here to work and keep making movies. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, similar to Danny, I've known for a long time that I wanted to make movies. I produced my first movie when I was 14, and we got it on public broadcast in Panama City Beach, which is, in retrospect, seems wild. I sold my first script when I was 16, and that was produced, and it's terrible, but it's online. You can buy it on a DVD. And then, you know, my husband and I moved here to Atlanta in 2014 for the industry. And I parlayed that into a job with Adult Swim for 5 years. And then part of that was hosting my own show for the network on our digital side. And from there was able to, you know, use that platform to start making things. And my thing has always been about making what you can with what you have, and finding a way to make things because we love making them. you know, there's so much attention and detail put into like making it look as best as possible, making all these things and putting them out in this like fancy package. But it's like, for the love of the craft, we can make things on a shoestring budget. You know, like the Duplass brothers say, there's no reason you shouldn't be making movies with your friends on the weekends. And that was sort of what brought me to what I wanted to do specifically here in Atlanta. It was what allowed me to make a couple web series and some shorts. It allowed me to make pageant material. It allowed me to make Jenna Gets an Abortion and now Max. And, you know, it's what gave my co-writer and I, Madison, the opportunity to meet people on the other side and then sign with a management company and now moving on to bigger rooms. You know, Atlanta is a great place because it's like, it's not the snottiness of LA. We've got people, as you can see, who are here working together and coming up and saying, like, you know, saying to Jillian, hey, I want to make this movie, or Danny giving time to a couple of shorts, you know, to myself and to Alex. We're a community and we're built on people helping other people because it makes our city better and it makes our film community better for that.
Okay. This is for any of you. Where are we now with queer representation? I mean, I think we all can agree that, you know, we've made great strides, you know, since the dinosaur days when I was growing up. I mean, but where are we now, and where do we need to be in 5-10 years?
I can say things about that. Speaking as a transgender woman, it was terrible for a long time in terms of characters. The trans characters that you saw on TV and in movies were either prostitutes or victims or serial killers. And then when they weren't, when they were protagonists, they were played by cisgender people. Hilary Swank as Brandon Tina, for example, or Felicity Huffman in Transamerica as a trans woman, to name two examples. You can all think of several more. And it is still not great. You still have things like Matt Bomer playing a trans woman in a movie quite recently. Recently enough that I don't think anyone can claim that the lesson has been learned yet. But you also see great things happening in terms of that with shows like Pose, or movies like Tangerine, or Nicole Maines on the show Supergirl on the CW. So trans representation in front of the camera, and of course behind the camera with directors like the Wachowskis, has been getting a lot better in the past few years. And that's been very gratifying to see.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would just say, just to add, like, I do think there's a spark that's really happening. Like, you know, I was talking about, like, you know, with Moonlight and, like, you know, with Pose, and, you know, quiet as it's kept, there's a lot of gay web series that don't get, like, you know, the light, you know, that it really deserves. So I think there are things that are happening. People are contributing their voices, but a lot of that, people don't have the funding to get it, like, seen on, like, the big screen. So I do think that people are part of this big conversation that, you know, you may not necessarily see what they're doing all the time, but it definitely has made a lot of progress.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would agree, and especially with like Pose, and you even see like some shows are like I think about geez, I can't even remember the name of the show now. Oh Lord. Of course, it'll come to me when it's not important. But anyway, yes, and I think with shows like you've seen like there's like drag kids. And like I heard that Disney Channel got like their first gay character in a series. So you're starting to see even like it's okay for kids to be gay now. Like that was like out the window, like completely, like no, not allowed. We don't talk about that. But I think that's changing, which is cool.
Okay. I remember, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, we had a program like this where we were bringing queer programmers together, queer local programmers together, and there was a good group, but it didn't seem like there was an umbrella organizations. I guess my question to you all is this: there are an increasing number of queer filmmakers who are in Atlanta, but is there some sort of umbrella organization where they all work together? Is there some sort of production company that brings people together to make queer products that we can all, see next year? I mean, what's the status of that?
If there is such an organization, sign me up.
Yeah, second.
Because
I would say the same thing.
because we had this conversation at that meeting. It's like, there's so many talented filmmakers here, but I don't know that unless we have something like this, it's hard to bring them all together. So I just wish there were an organization or some umbrella just for queer filmmakers here to come together and pull their talents and work together and make original programming here. So that's my editorial. But now I would love to. Does anybody have any ideas how to get something like that started?
I will write that down and bring that up at the next Film Impact Georgia meeting
Okay, great.
as something to potentially spearhead, because Film Impact Georgia is, offering a grant, a $5,000 grant twice a year to specifically to Georgia filmmakers, with special interest to inclusion and equitability and diversity. So that is, that's something that I think Molly Coffey and Melissa Simpson would absolutely love. So I'm happy to talk about it. Hell, I'm happy to try and spearhead the damn thing. Let's get it going.
It's funny because we had, my husband Craig and I had a meeting with some filmmakers that we know, like Chad Darnell and Cindy Abel, Leo Holland, Joe McCullough, about this same thing. And the answer was kind of the same. Like, I wish there was something that brought us all together. They were like a house or a production company. We could all work together and collaborate and make our own series and really do something that's specific to Atlanta. So I would love that. Let me move on to another question. I'm a huge fan of short films. I mean, anybody who sees our programming knows I'm a huge fan of short films. Something that always makes me a little sad, though, is that you see these great short films at a film festival, unlike films where, 6 months from now, they might be on DVD or Netflix or something. A lot of these short films just sort of disappear. How do we get these films that you all make and others make somewhere that people can watch them and they don't just disappear in the next year?
So one thing that we did with Max is we signed a distribution deal with Deku. Okay. Deku is a gay streaming service that is available. There are similar other services like Reverie TV, Here TV, and all of them have great outlets for short filmmakers. All of them have the ability for you to go on, submit your short film to them and be under consideration to be, added to their library. So you are a part of this wonderful curated queer content. There are other small streaming platforms, Roll Call, which is a new thing here in Atlanta. They specifically hone in on Atlanta talent. You've got one like Fearless. You've got all of these like great little streaming platforms that are popping up that not only, give you a platform to showcase your work, but in some cases also offer you financial, something on the back end, right? You get a little money for putting it on there. So those are great options.
Okay, great. So I want to go around the room again, the little Zoom room, and just get your advice to those people in Atlanta who may be, secretly wanting to make their first film, but have never really been able to. What is each of your advice to that person in terms of how to go about doing that? I'm gonna start with Danny. Hey, boo-boo.
Unmute myself. So my advice, how I met people was I started producing something because nobody else in my school at the time was really doing that. We had a lot of people writing, a lot of people directing, and Alex, you were there at the same time as me. I think a year after. We had writers, directors, we had actors. We didn't have producers, so I kind of fell into the position of starting putting everybody together and let's go make things. And when I was on set, I started talking to people and I realized that everybody that is on the film set has a dream. They have something they want to do. And by keeping all of that in mind, you find more and more people to work with. I met Jono because my first film that I ever produced, my main actress, Kayla Gibson, she came on and I was talking to her, and then she, 2 years later, I think, she tells me, "Hey, my friend Jonah is looking for a producer for this film called at the time it wasn't Retreat, but I think now is Retreat. I don't know the name of it now, but will you be willing to talk to him?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And then I met Jonah, and because of Jonah, I got into Jenna Gets an Abortion, and I met wonderful people there. And Max is about building a community, and the best way to do that is just approach somebody and start a conversation.
Okay.
You never know.
Okay. Anyone else with some advice for others?
Start with a good script. Either write it yourself if you're a writer, and then keep writing however many drafts that you need for it to be a really good script, and then start showing it to people. And if it's as good as you believe it is, and you believe in it, then you'll find other people who believe in it, and those people are going to know other people, and that's how you assemble your crew. And it really is as simple as that. And it it's simple, but it's not easy. It takes a lot of work, but it all comes back, I think, to having a good script. If you have a good script, people will want to help you make your movie.
Okay.
I would say you have a beautiful tool that you use every day. It's called your phone. It's a smartphone. And let me tell you something. You can put that bad boy in 4K and you can have a whole party, and you can, you potentially build your working film. And I would also just say, like, yes, utilize all your resources. If you have like any cinematographer friends that don't be afraid to be like, look, hey, I've never tried this before. Do you want to help me out? Because that's how I pretty much learned all this stuff, and I'm still learning. And you also have to be okay with making a film just for yourself. And if it's not for the world, then that's okay. You have to be committed, saying, I made this for myself. I don't know where it's going to go. It may just go to my family, and it may never be seen again, but you have to be okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for new filmmakers, since I was new, I literally didn't know what I was doing. And it was just, a passion, something I really wanted to do. And like you all said, you're sharing your script, and before you know it, you have people attaching, and they all have experience and they know people. And even if you get no's, it's okay. We all go through it. There's so many hiccups and so many stressors. But if you just keep doing it, you will see it come to life. And I know, like, I had an amazing team on board, and it was picking up the phone and calling people. And to my surprise, I got a producer on board, Ty Donaldson from Buddha Cowboy Productions. And he was an old friend of mine from California days. And I was just calling to ask him questions on budget and everything else, because I knew that he had a production company. And before I knew it, he was like, I want to do your film. So just don't stop, don't give up. If it's something you want to do, keep pushing forward. It will happen.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I would say whenever you're writing, just be fearless and don't be afraid to be truthful about your experience. And I would also say, like, in terms of getting on set for like the first time or the first few times, make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make them, but also recognize them, own them, and don't make them again. Yeah.
Great. All right, I have one final question, and I'll again go around the room. But what's next for you, and what's next for your film? I'm going to start with Vandy Beth.
Well, I'm still trying to get into other festivals,
Mhm.
and it's been a hard year for getting into festivals. Several of the festivals we got into were canceled.
Mhm.
So I was very glad to have gotten into out on film. And I'm writing a feature, and I'm writing another short. I don't know when I'll ever have the money to make the feature, but I do hope to make the short next year after all this unpleasantness is over.
Okay.
With
Great.
I mean with the virus. I don't mean with this festival.
Joel.
What's next for me? Yeah, like Vandy said, I'm still trying to do like, the festival route. And it's actually quite humbling when you get the letters that say no. Because at first I was like, okay. But then I'm like, it's cool. And that's something else I would offer too. Like, don't be afraid of like hearing the word no, because it happens a lot. But I think I'm just staying like super creative. I'm teaching. I'm still plotting out next creativity, and that's about it.
Okay, Jillian.
Well, I've started Off the Walls Productions, and I am in pre-production for my next short film called Hit or Miss, which I'm pretty excited about. And what's next for Cowboy Joe? We actually have gotten into Adirondack Film Festival in New York, and it is still circulating the festival market. So fingers crossed that we maybe get into some more. And that's it. If y'all want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram on Off the Walls Productions, and that's with a Z. And yeah.
Alex.
Up next, I am developing a couple of feature concepts. One of those is based on the short that Danny and I worked on together, Gretel and Hansel. So that's in the works. As far as the next steps for Last Gift, we are continuing to circulate festivals, plugging forward, not letting the COVID blues get us down, and working on those feature scripts in the meantime.
Okay, Danny.
Next for me, I'm producing a film right now, short film, with a good friend of mine, titled Doctor Doctor. We're hopefully gonna be shooting in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'm writing a short, and I am trying to outline TV show right now. So hopefully, I can get my head right and do all of this, get all of this project off the ground.
You got it.
For Vanilla Milkshake, film festivals. We're still trying to get into film festivals, hearing back, and like Jules said, a lot of no's, a lot of yeses, and not letting that bring us down. Just be happy with what we got so far, and of course, super excited to be here. So thank you again, and maybe working with all of the people in this room, that'll be awesome.
Great.
Collaborating at some point.
Jono.
So Max is available on Deku as a Deku original film. It's there. It's out on film. You can watch it. And what's next? We are shopping around a pilot right now, and we've got a couple shorts on deck for the end of this year and the beginning of next, all queer focused. We're very excited about.
Oh, great. Congratulations to all of you. One of the things I do miss about this year is seeing people, having people at the festival, engaging with people. That's something I always look forward to. But the positive side is that, with Zoom and the way it is, we can have unrushed conversations. I know that usually at Adult Film, we have like 20 minutes for Q&A, so we have to like really kind of hurry them along. So I'm glad we can have sort of an unrushed conversation, and I'm glad we can record this and sort of save it. And But anyway, thank you all very much for being here. These shorts programs will be up until Sunday, so please encourage your friends to watch these online. Encourage your friends to vote for these films, and thank you all very much. And continue good luck with your films. I really appreciate it.
Much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Jim.
Thank you.
This was great.
Thank you guys for a great event.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.